Good day, guys. How are we all doing? I hope we're all good. Top of the afternoon, pre-New York Qs on session entries or analysis. My points of interest going into today's session. I've got this zone here. I've got this zone here. Right. So if we can get price retracing into this area or retracing into this area, those are the 2 points of interest where I might potentially take my buys from. My target is simply 42,500. This is US 30 H1. 42,500 is my target, and I'm already looking at price having taken out this liquidity yesterday. Came back into this range, which is from 42,000 to 42,500. So again, if we can get a break, we might look for a possible continuation. That could be a move for today. That could be a move for next week. At the same time, this is just a point of interest for now, so price might still eventually drop. But we don't want to focus so much into the future. We just want to look at our immediate points of interest. So they will remain this level, and this level we do have an order block right here. And we also do have an order block here, which was yesterday's open price, which is in line with the second point of interest. So what we are now waiting for an entry right now is a retracement, number one. Then if we can get a pin bar or one of the four nameable candles on or near our 13 EMA and our points of interest, then we can consider a buy. The other reason we can consider a buy is if we can get like a W pattern, maybe with a little liquidity sweep. If that can form, let's say on M15 during that retracement, that will also be perfect. So let's see how price goes. If we can get any form of an H1 also with a bit of a longer wick to the downside into our points of interest, or anyway here, I might consider taking that buy as well. So let's just see how it plays out. Then going to Nasdaq, if you were following analysis from I think Monday, we mentioned the previous week's high and the previous week's low as our points of interest. I think this is the time when we're doing the analysis. And then we mentioned that if price comes towards here, if we're selling, that's our target. If we take out liquidity like what we did, then most likely price can push to the other side to take out this liquidity. So that's actually giving us a bullish bias at this point. So if you jump to H1, I'll just quickly highlight my points of interest. It's more or less the same with US 30, but I do have this order block, which is on the bottom. Although it looks like it was retested here, I do have a point of interest right there. I also have a point of interest on this breaker here. So we've got a breaker, so price can potentially retrace into that area, and we can potentially retrace into this area, probably meet the 13 EMA. So we do have 3 points of interest on Nasdaq. If I can get price showing me any buy signs, I'll take longs. But if I don't get what I want to see, then I might have to wait a little bit and see what price wants to do. Maybe I might take a sell back into the range. That's also possible. Then maybe price might push up next week. That's also possible since today is Friday. So I just want to also leave this one on the H1 time frame. S&P 500 more or less the same with Nasdaq. What I'm going to do with this one, I'm going to try and see if I can identify S&T divergence between Nasdaq and S&P 500. So again, we had the previous week's high, previous week's lows as our points of interest. We took liquidity on the bottom. We're currently back also above the psychological level. We do have this order block, which I also want to see broken. But again, my point of interest is right at my target area is right at the top there where I want last week's highs to be taken out. So if we come to H1, our points of interest, again, we do have this huge order block. You see, that's my point of interest. So if price retraces deeper there, I'll take a buy from here. Then if we retrace only to this point of interest, which is on the 200, which might link up with the 13, I might also buy from there. But I'm also very conscious of a 13 EMA cross, which means at some point we might get an ID 50 buy, which is very possible. So I'll also be keeping an eye on that. Then German 40, I was talking it earlier and I had marked these points of interest, which you see these two red lines. Let's see. So also here we've taken out these lows from this particular week. I think that was towards the end of May, the third week of May, roundabout there. That low, we have taken it out. And what could now happen here is we might still find support here and still drop. That's possible. But if we are able to break here, we might look for longs. So with German 40, I want to be a little bit cautious, but I would say I am currently looking for buys. Currently looking for buys. We are within the this week's psychological level as well. Maybe this point of interest can also extend a little bit so that we can get something like this. That's possible. So my main point of interest is 23,500. I would say if I can get a break above, then I might start looking for longs. We might get a reversal. But if price respects this area at the same time, if we find resistance there, we might actually look for sells. But I think I'll start only selling when we come back below this low. Then I'll be targeting 23,000 as my TP. So that's how I'm looking at this one. It's a bit not so clear, unlike the first ones I've analyzed. So we'll just keep an eye. We'll just keep an eye. Let's see what they do. So again, if you come to H1, that level, this is the point of interest. Potential longs coming back to these highs. So it could be a short-term buy here. I think I'll go for a short-term buy targeting 23,500. So if we drop, get a reaction here, I'm going to look for a buy. But if we show signs of coming down, either we might execute shorts today or maybe next week. So we'll just see. But my immediate point of interest is right here. So let's see what happens. Maybe I might consider shorts also. If something convinces me to sell from here, I might consider a short-term sell coming back down here. Also possible, but yeah, I'll need to have like a high probability setup for me to actually execute it that way. Then this is gold. So gold, I initially had this as my point of interest, but I'm also thinking gold might come a bit lower all the way to the 200 EMA on H4, which is the 800 EMA on H1. So if I'm running with a sell bias, then my points of interest would be these red arrows which you see, right? These red arrows which you see. So this is yesterday's lows. I'm looking for a zone flip if I'm going to sell. This is a London session high point of interest. If we find resistance there, I'm also looking to sell. So at the same time now, if price does this, it could also mean we pushing back all the way to today's open price, where we also have this point of interest. So this is the final deciding factor whether price is going to continue pushing down or the trend is now going to completely reverse from the sells which were happening here to a buy. So I would say that's how I'm looking at it. So I'll leave this one on H1. Then EU, I'm looking at it in two ways. So coming from this high of this week, which tapped into this area, we've been having a downtrend, right? Break of market structure, a drop, retracement, a drop. So we are currently inside my sell points of interest. If you see, I had this sell POIs from yesterday. So we got to the first one. We did not get any reaction. So that means I cannot sell. But I believe yesterday we also mentioned possible buys where could be taken targeting 1.15000. So I'm sure some of you took some buys, maybe caught this move going back up there. At the same time now, if we are to break above this week's psychological level, then this week could still close being bullish. So I'm sort of looking at it in two ways. But if my zone, if my resistance zone stays strong, if this psychological level zone stays strong, then I'm looking for price to come back below 1.15000, whereby we'll be looking to take our sells. Then I'll be looking for price to drop, break this order block, add both cells, and potentially target this low from last week. That's my main view for now. But again, if we come above, like I said, then price could potentially go up. So maybe we might have to reanalyze it. So coming to H1, H1 is already showing me signs. We've had a liquidity sweep of today's highs. We also took out yesterday's highs. We also took out the day before yesterday's highs. And I think we almost tapped into this order block here, this point of interest. Let's see. So you can see with the arrows, those were my points of interest. Here we got here. We didn't get the reaction we wanted to see, but those who took buys, like we said, potentially made some money right there. Let's see. So I'm going to extend this zone just to have a bit of an idea. So if I come back above that zone again, I might look for longs. But we'll see. We'll see what price will be giving us. No need to rush into anything. So out of everything I'm showing you, I'll simply be looking for one setup or two. Out of everything we looked at, simply be looking for one setup or two. So EU will leave it like this. But I think my setups might come from between Nasdaq and S&P 500. That's where most likely my setup is going to come from. Then maybe gold, but we'll see. Then US oil, haven't really been trading it. We did take a buy the other day. We did take a buy. Let me see. There was an H4 candle which we used. Okay, I remember we took a buy on this day with the stop loss here. We pushed up, came back, we pushed up. So we exited this buy here. So at this point, oil, I think, is being pushed mainly by the fundamental side. So if we can break maybe the London highs, okay, let me just put it this way. Let me put it this way so that I don't confuse anyone. Okay, I've got this week's psychological level, which we are currently trading inside. Then I've got the high, current high of the London session right here. Then I've got the current lows of the London session as well. But if you notice, that's where we have the ADR high, ADR low. So let me rather remove these because they are still visible on my H1. So I would say if I'm going to go long on oil, I'm only taking longs above this area, which will also be coming towards above the psychological level of this week. And if I'm going to be taking shorts, for now, I'm not taking shorts until I understand what's happening with the Iran-Israel situation. So maybe this is possible, yes, but then we might find support here, then those buys might continue. So I just want to be a little bit patient with the US oil, but my immediate points of interest are the current high of the day and the current low of the day, just like that. All right. We also have today's open price, of course, as a point of interest. So just in case we do this, we might get a scalp sell there. Also possible. If we do this, then we might look for that buy. So that's how I'm looking at oil. Then Bitcoin, I'm not going to speak on it because I'm not currently trading. It same applies to these other pairs. They were there for other reasons. So that's it from my analysis today. I hope they help somebody. We're going to be actively stalking on the indices mainly because they look like there's enough volume. We've got nice market structure, perfect points of interest, especially for US 30, US 100, and S&P 500. So that's it from me today, guys. Maybe let me know what you traded today. Today's Friday, the 20th of June 2025. So if you're seeing this, depending with when you see it, just let me know what trade you took on this particular day. Was it a win? Was it a loss? And how do you find this analysis? Is it something helpful? Is it something I should continue? Or should I add a little bit more insights on my analysis? If you watched until the end, thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your day. Good trading.